In this video, we will show you how to change the inner and outer tie rods on your Jeep Grand Cherokee. You can find them on CarParts.com via the link in the description. For safety reasons, we strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Jeep Grand Cherokee safely. And if your Grand Cherokee is equipped with Quadra Lift air suspension, you want to watch it. This will avoid damaging your suspension system. Activate the jack mode. Turn the disc outwards. This will facilitate the following steps. You can now see the outer tie rod. The components to be removed are very often seized up, so don't hesitate to brush and to use penetrating oil to make removal easier. With a marker, trace a line between the inner tie rod and the outer tie rod. This will be useful later on during its assembly and disassembly. Hold the inner tie rod with an 18mm wrench to prevent it from turning. With a 1 1/16 inch wrench, loosen the lock nut on the outer tie rod. The lock nut is there to prevent any rotation of the two parts towards each other, which could have an impact on the wheel alignment of your vehicle. Using a 21mm wrench, unscrew the outer tie rod holding nut. Use a ratchet and a Torx T40 socket to keep the ball joint from rotating. If you do not have a ball joint puller, a tool specifically designed for this task, take a hammer and hit the outer tie rod. The ball joint should come out of the knuckle. Unscrew the nut. Unscrew the outer tie rod and remove it. Use the markings made with the marker to return the lock nut to its original position. Then, measure the distance between the lock nut and the end of the inner tie rod using a caliper. In any case, a wheel alignment check will have to be carried out by a professional soon after having performed this operation. Remove the lock nut from the inner tie rod. With pliers, remove the external metallic clip on the protective sleeve of the inner tie rod. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the waterproof clip on the sleeve. With a cutter, cut the external part of the sleeve so that you can remove it. Remove the sleeve. Using a tie rod removal wrench, a specific tool for carrying out this job, you can now loosen everything without difficulty. To do this, insert the tool up to the fixed part of the inner tie rod. Then, with the help of a breaker bar, unscrew the inner tie rod. If the inner tie rod is dented, you can loosen it using an adjustable wrench. You can order the inner and outer tie rods used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Take the new inner tie rod, remove the plastic cover, put the inner tie rod back on the steering rack. Still using the same tool or using an adjustable wrench, screw the inner tie rod back in. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Then remove the tool. Now take the new sleeve and clamps provided in the kit. Then apply silicone grease to the part of the sleeve that will be in contact with the steering rack and the part in contact with the inner tie rod. Then position the inner collar correctly. Place the sleeve on the steering rack. You can now crimp the collar with collar pliers or pincers. Replace the outer collar. Apply copper grease to facilitate the installation. Screw the lock nut back on until the distance measured with the caliper is reached. Using a wire brush, scrub the knuckle. Then apply silicone grease to the flat part that will be in contact with the sleeve of the outer tie rod. Do not grease the inside of the cone. You can order the outer tie rods used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Take the new outer tie rod. Put the outer tie rod back in place until it touches the lock nut. Use an 18mm wrench to rotate the inner tie rod in order to place the outer tie rod in the correct position. Put the outer tie rod back in place in the knuckle. Put the castellated nut supplied with the new part in place and tighten it using a 21mm wrench. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Take the cotter pin and fit it into the castellated nut. During this operation, you will work on the steering system of your vehicle. A professional alignment check should be performed to ensure that your steering system is once again perfectly adjusted and functioning. You can now bend the cotter pin. You can use pliers. Screw the grease fitting onto the bottom of the outer tie rod by hand at first, then using a small ratchet, a small extender, and a 7mm socket to lock it in place. Finish tightening the lock nut using a 1 1/16 inch wrench by holding the inner tie rod still with the help of an 18mm wrench to avoid damaging the tie rod. Then, you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put your vehicle back on the ground before properly fixing the wheels in place. If your Grand Cherokee is equipped with Quadra Lift air suspension, you can now turn off the jack mode. Operation complete.